Previously on Storytime with Blitz. Tifa's about to get ready to tell the story. Tifa was born into the Lockhart family in 1987. Her father's name was Brian and her mother's name Thea. Emilio, Lester, Taylor, and Tifa had grew up playing together, but ever since Tifa's mother passed away, everyone began treating her as that poor little girl. Why, if it isn't Tifa Lockhart, happy birthday! Our cat just gave birth to a litter. That one. We call him Maru. Maru went missing because my dad accidentally left the door open. Oh shit. A visitor was called on her. It was Claudia Strife. Oh, thank you. Where did you find him? Cloud found him yesterday over at the mountain gate. Storytime with Blitz. Now that she had no need to search for Maru, going outside no longer seemed appealing. Although she did bring up the topic of walking practice in earnest, the pain still lingered. Emilio came over to visit then. Oh, sorry guys, I got a message I gotta send. So Emilio came over to visit. Come on, time for exercise, he said while raising a basket up to his chest. I brought you tea and some fruits. Eva's like, huh? Let's try going down to the waterfall. At least there we'd still be honest if we tell him we were inside town limits. Did my dad say something to you? Yeah, he asked me to escort you during your walking exercises. Except for me to make sure you don't leave the village and stuff like that. Emilio seemed uneasy. He must have thought that there was something special behind her father's request for help. As she left the house accompanied by Emilio, they bumped into Lester. In his arms were, as she expected, a basket. The fleeting look of dissatisfaction that crossed his face did not escape her notice. Yo, it's like all four of these boys about to show up with a basket. Even though it was the village's fountainhead, everyone simply called the place that they were headed to the waterfall. It served as an outlet for the collected water in Nibelheim. The boys escorted her down to the waterfall's basin and helped to support her as she lumbered on her injured leg. When they arrived at their spot, Tifa noticed that Taylor was already there, looking for a dry place for them. It was now apparent that her father had called all three of her friends. Since it's almost time for lunch, said Lester, I brought some sandwiches. We made the ham ourselves. You made the ham yourself? How are you making ham yourself? Emilio and Lester cheered. Taylor's family's ham recipe always turned out delicious. Even Tifa, who had been feeling gloomy, couldn't help expressing her delight. When the four of them gathered, the conversation usually turned to Midgar, the city of the boys' dreams. There was a school in Midgar and the students had to study hard. The kids in the slum learned reading and writing from volunteers who came from Midgar. Perhaps their schooling was on the same level as the slum kids. The shortcut to get into the Shinra company from the slums was through Soldier, and they wondered how likely it was for a soldier to die. They thought that the money was the solution to problem for everybody on the plate. There were some facts, myths, and misunderstandings in their discussions, but the looks on their faces were serious. Well, these boys don't know what they're getting into, man. They're trying to get that soldier juice in their butt. I wonder if I wonder if any of them died. Like, you gotta think about it, right? Like when the Sector 7 plate dropped, were any of those boys that have been like harassed, well, not that used to be friends with Tifa and keep on hitting on her, did they follow her to like Sector 7? I wonder. Gray? I'm home alone, so when Gray kind of barks, it kind of scares me. Hold on a sec. Let me go beat up this ghost. Yo, whoop your ass, ghost. For Tifa, Midgar became in its own way a great interest to her. She couldn't help but think about this faraway world, this big city with like wonder and excitement. If you go and live in Midgar, would you ever want to come back here? Said Tifa. If I can't adapt to the city life, then there'd be no other choice. I don't want people here looking at me like I'm some loser, so if that ever happens, I'll probably move to another city. That's probably why we don't know who they are. They definitely didn't make it. They got sent to the Shadow Realm. But if none of us come back, you'll be lonely, won't you, Tifa? Who knows, she said. You might even forget about me. Tifa felt embarrassed the moment the words left her mouth. It sounded like she was sulking. And sure enough, Emilio and the others started trying to cheer her up. As they left the water basin, the boys started talking over each other. The picnic was fun. Let's do it again sometimes. You call that a picnic? We need to go out further than that. You can have picnics nearby. Don't get it mixed up with hiking. How about a tea party? Tifa chimed in. Tea party seemed so elegant and lovely. She recalled a photo of herself sitting on her mother's knee while her mother sat at the outdoor tea table set up on the meadow, sipping tea with some of her wealthier relatives during the Republic era. Her mother's grandparents may have been in the photo too. Tea party? What's that? Well, if Tifa wants to do one, I'll be happy to. Simp. Bitch ass simp. The tea parties continued until the number of parties became less frequent, and then one by one, the boys all eventually left town. Oh shit. They all died. The boys kept talking about Midgar so much that eventually you looked to Midgar as your rival. You wanted to wear the latest fashion that the girls wore. So I asked someone who was good at the needlework to help me out. And it had to be fabrics that we couldn't get from our general store. I even learned how to bake sweets. Up until then, I don't think I ever tried to get any boy's attention. Making Midgar your rival, eh? I like that about you, Tifa. It was actually Barrett that said that. Said Barrett Wallace, who hadn't noticed he was right behind them listening in. The spring when her friend said that they would be leaving town had arrived. Their time together was coming to an end. This premonition of things to come made her unexpectedly emotional. Late that night, she set her mind to baking a cake. She wavered on whether or not she should bake cookies instead, but a cake seemed so much more appropriate for the occasion. It would make this spring memorable for them. So Tifa started cooking, bro. She started whipping it up in the kitchen. Damn. She quickly checked the kitchen pantry, jotting down all the missing ingredients, and then dashed out to the general store, which was owned by Emilio's family. She stood in front of the store. She felt someone's gaze on her back, and then she turned and saw Cloud's Strife. Their eyes met. Usually, when that happened, he would look away and run off somewhere, but today Cloud seemed different. She saw his mouth move. What, he actually talked to her? Bitch-ass Cloud. He said something, but Tifa couldn't hear it. She tilted her head to the side, and the motion caused Cloud to dash over to her, and she instinctively prepared to flee. He stopped just as he was about to bump into her and blurted out, "Midnight at the water tower." Okay, Tifa said. Yo, that sounds anime as fuck. When he heard her response, Cloud took off running as if he was trying to evade her. He didn't have to do that, she thought, since she herself was frantically running away from him to get home. Wait, the ingredients! She forgot to buy the ingredients. Her father watched her with a puzzled expression, but she pretended to be upset over something to escape any questioning, and went to her room where she could compose herself. Maru was on top of the bed, and she picked him up and held him in her arms as she sank to the floor. Her heart was beating wildly. No, it wasn't just because she had been running. That's funny. He never spoke to her before, and then to tell her all this before leaving. Cloud was like, you know, he's trying to be anti-simp, but deep down inside, he actually was, in fact, a simp. When was the last time they spoke to each other? Yeah, that's right. Maru went missing several times after his first breakout when Cloud found him and gave him shelter. It happened so many times after that Tifa realized if left alone, he would come back on his own after a few days. But still, whenever he went missing, she went out looking for him, and she wasn't allowed to go out much. But there were monsters also roaming around the mountains. When she was at the mountain gate searching for Maru and calling out his name, she saw Cloud walking down. He noticed her too, but refused to look at her. "I saw Maru right where you're about to step in," the Cloud, as he brushed past her. "Oh, thanks." Cloud headed back towards the village without stopping, but finally turned around and said to her, "Don't you feed him? I saw him eat a bird." Tifa's like, I do. In an act of fierce protest, she stormed into the mountains, and sure enough, there was Maru with his mouth covered in blood. When was that? Yo, what a savage. Maru was on her lap. She petted him, and he purred with eyes half closed from bliss. When they were younger, she and Cloud used to play together a lot. Their houses were right next to each other, and it was easy to go back and forth. Cloud has such a beautiful face, her mother once complimented him at the dining table. Did that happen when she was 7, or was it 8? For some reason, that compliment made her feel happy and a bit shy. Ooh. Her mother had given her a knowing wink, which didn't escape her father's notice. He scowled at them. This moment became one memory that she had of her family life before her mother passed away. When did Cloud start to drift away from everyone? Did something happen between him and the other boys? What was clear in her mind was that it must have had something to do with the disaster incident that happened because of her mother's death. But he stopped coming over to play even before then. I wonder why. Cradling Maru in her arms, she went over to her window where she spotted the water tower in the middle of the village. If they meet there, everyone might see them. Oh, so that's why he wanted to meet her at midnight. By then, everyone would be asleep. What time was midnight again? Oh, 12 o'clock, right? Right? Did Cloud really trust that she'd be able to understand him just like that? Cloud is... well, never mind. There was no point in playing guessing games now. Hey, what do you think I should wear? Maru was completely disinterested. He jumped out of her arms and strolled towards the bed. There was a knock on the door, and she heard her father's voice. Tifa? She opened the door and saw him standing in the hallway, blinking sleepily. I'm going to bed early tonight. The repairs on the road bridge have been giving us some trouble lately. Okay, I understand. Please get some rest. Oh, he looked uncomfortably. What's wrong? You're in a bad mood earlier. When you say things like that, of course it puts me in a bad mood, Dad, laughed Tifa. Alright, I see. Her father laughed too. He told her good night and then went back down to his room. As she was choosing what outfit to wear, the realization came to her that this would be the first time she would sneak outside at midnight behind her father's back and with, of all people, of course, Cloud's Strife. This night was special. Her spirit soared. Sleep was the last thing on her mind. After dressing up, she took a glance out the window. It was almost time. However, unlike how she had imagined it, there were many windows still lit up. No sign of Cloud anywhere near the water tower, and she turned off her lights and went out. Leaning in close, she listened at her father's bedroom door. He was snoring peacefully. She tiptoed downstairs, careful with each and every step, and after passing the living room, she finally opened the entrance door. The moment she stepped outside, she took a deep breath. The sky was filled with stars. Stars that looked like they were falling down around her. Was Cloud waiting for her on that water tower? Thinking of her with special emotions? Emotions that were more than just a friendship? Would he confess those feelings to her? If that were the case, how would she respond? Did she even like him? She held up her hand to her heart and thought it over. Yes, there was no mistaking it. She liked him. However, this fondness she had for him was different from just wanting to spend alone time with him. Cloud has such a beautiful face. She recalled her mother's words and how her mother went on to say, well, I think he's even more beautiful than your great hero Sephiroth. Damn, son. Oh, this is why Sephiroth is always chasing Cloud. That's the real reason right there. And that's also why Sephiroth killed Cloud's mom, believe it or not. Her mother compared Cloud to a soldier from Shinra Company, who the youth in those days touted as the great hero Sephiroth, as a way of complimenting Cloud. Tifa remembered thinking in her head at that time, oh, is he? And then she realized it. Oh wait, mom said that, so it must be true. That's some solid canon right there. Hell yeah. Rehydrate. Yum 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 yum. Delicioso. Yes, the reason why her heart was racing now was because Cloud was unreachable, a thing of beauty, like the stars. Damn, son! Cloud looked that good? Let me see. I think Barrett looks better. Cloud, you fool, she liked you this entire time. I know, reading this is just like making me feel like, yo, these idiots. Thanks, Mom. She felt less nervous. As her footsteps became lighter, she started to sprint towards the water tower. Oh, snap. Cloud was already there. He sat on the scaffold, swinging his legs to and fro. Oh, that's canon right there, bro. I remember that. Pixely as Cloud. Chibi Cloud, like swinging his legs on the front tower. The last time she came to the water tower, they were still small kids. What tone of voice should she use to talk to him? What, girls think about that? Well, normal is best. Wait, how did she normally sound? Damn, they overthinking this shit.
Heya. So, what did you want to talk about?
The things Cloud told her at the water tower were nothing extraordinary.
When spring comes, I'm leaving town. I'm going to Midgar.
He told her that he was going to leave town when spring came, and that was different from everyone else.
Should have figured. All the guys are leaving.
But I'm not like them. I'm not going just to look for work.
All the boys said the same thing to her in the end, but even so, she wasn't disappointed.
I'm going to be a soldier. The best of the best. Like Sephiroth.
Was it due to some sort of spell cast on her and the night of the stars falling down? Or was it possibly because of the sight of Cloud, seemingly slightly enthusiastic, that she found him so endearing? That promise that they suggested they make was just a simple idea.
Just promise me one thing. When we're older, and you're a famous soldier, if I'm ever trapped or in trouble, promise you'll come and save me.
Huh?
That's what heroes do. They save people. Please? Just once. Come on, promise me.
Yet the moment they exchanged words, it became an irreplaceable promise.
Fine. I promise.
And it was that night that also made her see Cloud, whom she adored as an ordinary boy. Oh shit. Tifa fell in love with Cloud. It was the kind of love where she wanted to be with him. That's how she felt.